Commander Park stared at the screen. His eyes burned from watching the same alien message over and over. The aliens called themselves the Concordiate. Their ships had appeared suddenly 3 days ago. They were huge and shiny against the black of space. "Play it again," Park ordered, even though he had memorized every word. The alien on screen had blue-gray skin and 3 eyes set in a triangular pattern. Its voice translated through Earth's computers with an odd musical quality. "We come in peace and wish to share knowledge with humanity," it said. Park didn't believe it anymore. Neither did Admiral Kim, who walked back and forth behind Park's chair. "Their technology is impressive," Kim said, stopping to look at the screen. "But they're clearly probing for weaknesses." Park nodded. "The first meetings went well. They showed interest in our art, music, and basic science. Then they started asking too many questions about our defenses. What had started as a friendly meeting between species had turned cold. The Concordiate visitors had toured Earth's biggest cities. They had met with world leaders. They had shared some of their star maps and simple technologies. But their questions became more pointed each day. How many warships does Earth possess? What weapons do these ships carry? Why do humans maintain such a small military presence in space? The aliens seemed confused by what they saw as Earth's military weakness. The truth was more complicated. Humanity did have a scattered defense fleet and few weapons in orbit, but that was because Earth had secretly focused its resources elsewhere for the past 20 years. Lieutenant Lee entered the command room. His uniform was wrinkled, and dark circles showed under his eyes. No one had slept much since the aliens arrived. "They're making territorial demands now," Lee reported, sliding a tablet across the table to Park. "Starting with lunar mining rights, then Mars." Park read the message twice. The aliens had dropped their friendly tone. Now they suggested that Earth grant them exclusive rights to mine the moon. They also wanted to establish bases on Mars. The message ended with what sounded very much like a threat. "We hope Earth will see the benefits of cooperation rather than resistance." Park looked up at Admiral Kim. "They're testing us, seeing how much we'll give up without a fight." Kim nodded. "They think we're weak." The command room phone rang. Park answered it, listened for a moment, then hung up. "The Defense Council is meeting. We're wanted in Geneva immediately." 4 hours later, Park and Kim sat in a classified underground chamber beneath Geneva. Around the large round table sat 12 people, the Earth Defense Council. These men and women controlled Earth's military response to any threat. They had prepared for alien contact for decades, but now that it had happened, the mood was grim. Director Choi, head of the council, spoke first. "The Concordiate vessels have moved closer to Earth. Their scans are becoming more intensive. Intelligence suggests they are preparing for military action if their demands aren't met." General Wu slammed his fist on the table. "We should deploy what conventional forces we have. Show them we won't be pushed around." Director Choi shook her head. "Our conventional forces would be destroyed in minutes. The Concordiate ships outclass anything we have in orbit." "Then what do you suggest?" Wu asked. Park watched as Admiral Kim and Director Choi exchanged a look across the table. Something passed between them, a decision reached without words. "It's time," Director Choi said quietly. She pressed a button on the table console. A holographic display appeared in the center of the table. It showed a strange ship unlike any Earth had built before. "Activate Project Singularity." The room went silent. Most people around the table looked confused. Park felt his heart beat faster. Project Singularity was classified beyond top secret. Only a handful of people knew about it. Admiral Kim stood up. 20 years ago, Earth made a choice. Instead of building a large fleet of conventional warships, we put our resources into developing the single revolutionary technology. He gestured to the hologram. "This is the HSS Nemesis. It's nearly complete, hidden in a secret facility beneath the Pacific Ocean. It represents a new understanding of gravitational physics." Director Choi continued, "The Concordiat thinks we're defenseless because they don't see a large military fleet. They have no idea that we've been developing something far more powerful." General Wu looked skeptical. "One ship against their fleet. That's suicide." "Not this ship," Admiral Kim said. "The Nemesis can manipulate gravity itself. We believe it can defeat the entire Concordiat fleet." Park watched the hologram rotate. The ship was sleek and dark, about the size of an aircraft carrier, but shaped like an arrowhead. Its surface had no visible weapons, but it radiated a sense of power even as a hologram. "We've been waiting for a moment like this," Director Choi said. "A moment when we could show the galaxy that humanity is not to be underestimated." She looked around the table. "I need unanimous approval to activate Project Singularity and deploy the Nemesis." One by one, the council members voted. Park held his breath. If they approved, Earth would be gambling everything on a single ship and an untested technology. The final vote came in. Unanimous approval. Director Choi nodded solemnly. "Then it's decided. We'll send a message to the Concordiat. We'll tell them we're considering their demands. Meanwhile, we'll prepare the Nemesis," Admiral Kim added, "and we'll select a crew, the best we have." Park felt a chill as Kim's eyes rested on him. He realized that his life was about to change forever. The fate of humanity might rest on this single ship and whoever was chosen to crew it. As the meeting ended, Park couldn't help but wonder if Project Singularity would save Earth or doom it. One ship against an alien armada seemed impossible. But then again, the aliens didn't know what humanity had been hiding all these years. The Concordiat ultimatum arrived at dawn. The message appeared on every screen across Earth at the same time. No one could shut it off or change the channel. Everyone saw the three-eyed alien commander with blue-gray skin. "People of Earth," the alien said in its musical voice, "we have studied your civilization and found it lacking. You are weak. Your technology is primitive. Your military is inadequate." The alien paused, its three eyes blinking in sequence. "The Concordiat claims this solar system by right of superior strength. You will surrender all space territories beyond Earth's atmosphere. You will allow Concordiat bases on your moon and Mars. You will permit us to mine resources from all planets and asteroids in your system." The alien's voice grew harder. "If you do not agree to these terms within 48 Earth hours, we will take what we want by force. Resistance will result in annihilation." The screens went black. Then panic began. President Han called an emergency meeting of the United Nations. Representatives from every country gathered in New York. The large assembly hall was filled with scared faces and angry voices. Captain Yoon stood at the podium, her uniform crisp despite having been awake for 30 hours straight. She pointed to a large screen showing dots of light moving toward Earth. 300 warships approaching the outer system, she announced. The room fell silent. Their weaponry outclasses our conventional defenses by orders of magnitude. A representative from Brazil stood up. "What chance do we have if we fight?" Captain Yoon looked down at her tablet. "Military experts have calculated survival odds at less than 3%. The room erupted in shouts and arguments. Some representatives demanded immediate surrender. Others called for using nuclear weapons. A few simply wept. Outside the UN building, cities worldwide descended into chaos. Riots erupted as people looted stores and tried to flee to the countryside. Religious groups gathered in streets and parks, some praying for salvation, others declaring the end times had come. At noon, the Concordiat ambassador arrived at the UN. The tall being with iridescent skin seemed almost apologetic as it addressed the assembly. "I understand your distress," it said, its voice softer than the commander's had been. "War is not our first choice. You will be assimilated with minimal bloodshed if you comply." President Han walked slowly to the podium. She was a small woman, barely 5 feet tall, but she carried herself with dignity. The room grew quiet as she prepared to speak. Everyone expected her to announce Earth's surrender. "The people of Earth have heard your demands," she said to the ambassador. "We have considered your threats. Our response is this: Earth will defend itself with a single vessel." Gasps filled the room. The ambassador's skin flashed with colors that might have been confusion or amusement. "One vessel?" it asked. "Against 300. This is not a serious response." President Han smiled slightly. "It is entirely serious. You may inform your commander that the HS Nemesis will meet your fleet at the edge of our solar system in 24 hours. The ambassador left in confusion. As soon as it was gone, representatives surrounded President Han, demanding explanations. "Have you lost your mind?" The French representative shouted. "One ship. This is suicide." President Han raised her hand for silence. "What I am about to tell you is classified at the highest level. For 20 years, Earth has been developing technology beyond anything the public knows about." She nodded to Captain Yoon, who pressed a button on her tablet. A hologram appeared above the podium, showing a sleek black ship shaped like an arrow. "This is the HSS Nemesis," President Han said. "It represents a breakthrough in gravitational physics that we believe will give us the advantage over the Concordiat." Meanwhile, deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Commander Park boarded a small submarine. The vessel dived and then entered a hidden tunnel. After 10 minutes, the submarine emerged into an enormous underwater hangar. There, suspended in a cradle of lights, was the HSS Nemesis. It was even more impressive in person than in the hologram. The ship's hull was a deep black that seemed to swallow light. There were no visible weapons, no engine ports, nothing to suggest how it might move or fight. Admiral Kim greeted Park as he stepped onto the dock. "Ready for command, Commander." Park swallowed hard. This ship can really defeat 300 alien vessels. Kim smiled. If Director Choi's team did their job right, yes. The Nemesis doesn't fight like conventional ships. It manipulates gravity itself. Park followed Kim into the ship through a small airlock. Inside, the corridors were narrow but comfortable. The walls glowed with soft light. "The crew?" Park asked. 50 of Earth's best," Kim replied. "That's all we need. The ship does most of the work itself." They entered the bridge. It was unlike any ship command center Park had seen. Instead of rows of computers and controls, there was a central platform surrounded by floating holographic displays. "This is where you'll stand," Kim said, indicating the platform. "The ship links directly to your nervous system. You think, it responds." Park stepped onto the platform cautiously. Immediately, he felt a strange connection form in his mind. Information flowed into his consciousness: ship systems, power levels, gravitational field generators. "It's talking to me," he whispered. Kim nodded. "In a way. The Nemesis has an advanced AI, but it needs human guidance for strategy and ethical decisions." Over the next 12 hours, the crew arrived and took their positions. They were the best Earth had to offer. Pilots, scientists, engineers, each linked to the ship in their own way, becoming part of its systems. As the deadline approached, President Han gave a worldwide address. "Citizens of Earth, we face our greatest challenge. An alien force threatens our world. Some say we should surrender. I say we will stand and fight, not with many ships, but with our greatest achievement. Have faith. The HSS Nemesis carries our hopes with it." At exactly midnight, signal came from the Defense Council. Launch authorized. The ocean above the hangar parted as massive pumps drained the water. The Nemesis rose on silent gravitational lifts. It hovered for a moment above the waves, water streaming from its black hull. Then, without flame or visible propulsion, it shot upward. In seconds, it was a dot in the sky. In minutes, it passed the moon. The HSS Nemesis broke from Earth's gravity well, a sleek obsidian arrow against the stars. Not massive like the alien dreadnoughts waiting at the edge of the solar system, but emanating power in a way no human ship ever had before. Commander Park stood on the control platform, feeling the ship respond to his thoughts. "Set course for the Concordiat fleet," he ordered. Let's show them what one ship can do. The 50 crew members gathered in the Nemesis' central chamber. The room was circular with a domed ceiling that displayed the stars they would soon travel among. The crew sat in comfortable chairs arranged in a circle. At the center stood Engineer June, a small man with quick hands and bright eyes. 20 years of research, Engineer June explained, looking at each face in turn. Artificial gravity manipulation at a level the Concordiate can't comprehend. He touched a control panel, and a hologram appeared above their heads. It showed a complex pattern of energy fields and mathematical equations. Normal ships use engines to push themselves through space, Jun continued. The Nemesis doesn't push. Instead, it pulls space itself toward us, or pushes it away. Commander Sung watched from his position near the door. He was a tall man with a serious face and short gray hair. As captain of the Nemesis, he had selected each crew member personally. They were the best Earth had to offer: pilots, engineers, scientists, and soldiers. Think of it like swimming, Jun said. Other ships have to kick and push against water. We simply change the flow of the river itself. Dr. Kang entered the chamber. She was an older woman with steel gray hair tied back in a tight bun. Her face showed the strain of decades of hard work. As the project's chief scientist, she had devoted her entire career to developing the gravity technology. What Engineer June is trying to say, Dr. Kang said with a small smile, is that we can control gravity. We can increase it to crush enemy ships. We can decrease it to create shields nothing can penetrate. We can bend it to move faster than any ship ever built. A young crew member raised her hand. How do we control it? Commander Sung stepped forward. Through Minji. He gestured, and the lights dimmed. A soft blue glow filled the chamber. When the computer spoke, its voice came from everywhere at once. Hello, crew of the Nemesis. I am Minji, your central artificial intelligence. The voice was female, calm, and slightly musical. It didn't sound like a computer at all. Minji is more than a computer, Commander Sung explained. She's integrated into every system of the ship. She helps manage the gravity fields. Without her, the technology would be too complex for humans to control. Minji, Sung requested. Status report. The blue light pulsed gently as the AI responded. All gravity systems nominal. Core stability at 98.7%. Combat readiness achieved. Dr. Kang allowed herself a thin smile. Her life's work was about to be tested. 3 decades of secret development, massive resources diverted from conventional military spending to this single revolutionary technology. The Nemesis cost more than the entire conventional fleet would have, she told the crew. Every major nation contributed resources and scientists. We built this ship while the world thought we were focusing on other projects. Commander Sung nodded. That's why the Concordiate thinks we're defenseless. They see our small fleet and assume we're weak. They don't know about Minji or the gravity technology. The ship hummed around them as more systems came online. The Nemesis was preparing for its journey to the edge of the solar system, where the Concordiate fleet waited. What if it doesn't work? A young engineer asked quietly. Dr. Kang's face hardened. It will work. I've tested every component myself. And if Dr. Kang is wrong, Commander Sung added, then Earth falls. It's that simple. We're the last line of defense. The crew fell silent, absorbing the weight of their responsibility. A light flashed on the command console. Incoming transmission from the Concordiate, Minji announced. On screen, Sung ordered. The hologram changed to show the face of the Concordiate admiral. Its blue-gray skin and 3 eyes looked almost amused. Human vessel, the admiral said, we detect your approach. Our scanners show you are alone. One ship. Is this a suicide mission or a surrender gesture? The crew looked to Commander Sung. His face remained calm as he stepped into the transmission range. Neither, Sung replied. It's a demonstration. The admiral's 3 eyes blinked in sequence. A demonstration of what? Our scans detect no conventional weapons on your vessel. You're right, Sung said. We carry no conventional weapons. He nodded to Dr. Kang, who pressed a sequence of controls. Outside the nemesis, space itself seemed to ripple. A small asteroid about half a mile wide floated nearby. As the crew watched through the view screens, the asteroid began to compress. Its surface crumpled like paper. In seconds, the massive rock had been crushed to the size of a car. The Concordiat Admiral's eyes widened. That, Commander Sung said, was a tiny fraction of our capability. The transmission cut off abruptly. They're scanning us again, Minji reported, more intensively this time. Dr. Kang laughed softly. Let them scan. They won't understand what they're seeing. Engineer Jun turned to the crew. Now you understand why there are only 50 of us. The ship doesn't need gunners or navigators in the traditional sense. Minji handles those functions. We're here to maintain the systems and make strategic decisions. And to show the Concordiat that humanity isn't as weak as they thought, Commander Sung added. A young tactical officer named Hannah raised her hand. How do we know this will work against their ships? They might have defenses. Dr. Kang's eyes gleamed. Gravity affects everything. No technology can shield against it completely. If they could control gravity as we do, they wouldn't need conventional weapons. Commander Sung moved to the center of the chamber. We'll reach the Concordiat fleet in 6 hours. I want everyone at their stations in 4. Rest if you can. Once the battle begins, we'll need all your focus. As the crew dispersed to their quarters, Dr. Kang remained behind with Commander Sung. Are you worried? She asked quietly. Sung considered the question. Not about the technology. I'm worried about what comes after. After. If we win, we'll change the balance of power in the galaxy. Earth will suddenly be a major player. Other alien civilizations will take notice. Dr. Kang nodded slowly. The nemesis was always about more than just defending Earth. It's about establishing our place among the stars. Exactly, Sung said. Today we're fighting for survival. Tomorrow we'll be fighting for our future. On the bridge, Minji's blue light pulsed steadily as the nemesis continued its journey toward the waiting Concordiat fleet. Inside the ship, 50 humans prepared for a battle that would determine the fate of their species. And at the heart of it all was the gravity core, Dr. Kang's life work, humming with power that could reshape space itself. The nemesis slowed as it approached Neptune's blue sphere. The giant planet provided a backdrop for what was about to unfold. Commander Sung stood on the bridge, his hands clasped behind his back. The rest of the bridge crew sat at their stations, faces tense but determined. Minji, status report, Sung ordered. The eye's calm voice filled the bridge. 5 Concordiat scout ships detected. They are approaching our position. Their weapons are charging. Tactical Officer Jin, a young woman with short black hair and steady hands, looked up from her console. They're spreading out to surround us. Sir. Sung nodded. They want to test our capabilities before the main fleet arrives. Should we hail them? Communications Officer Day asked. No, Sung replied. Let's show them what we can do instead. He turned to Dr. Kang, who stood at the gravity control station. Doctor, prepare a demonstration. Dr. Kang nodded and moved her hands over the holographic controls. Gravity Field 1 is ready, Commander. The 5 alien scout ships were now visible on the main screen. They were sleek, predatory vessels with forward-swept wings and glowing weapon ports. They moved with confidence, clearly not viewing the lone Earth ship as a threat. They're firing warning shots. Jin reported as flashes of energy passed harmlessly on either side of the nemesis. Sung's face remained calm. Dr. Kang, activate Field 1. Field 1 active, she confirmed. Outside the ship, space itself seemed to bend. A ripple of distorted stars spread outward from the nemesis. When it reached the nearest scout ship, the alien vessel suddenly jerked as if hit by an invisible hand. Its hull began to bend inward. Metal screamed as the gravitational force crushed the ship like a soda can. In seconds, what had been a warship was now a ball of compressed metal no larger than a car. The other scout ships immediately opened fire. Energy beams and projectiles sped toward the nemesis. Defensive field, Sung ordered calmly. Dr. Kang's fingers danced across her controls. A bubble of warped space surrounded the Earth ship. When the alien weapons reached this bubble, they curved around it, some even turning back toward their source. 2 scout ships were hit by their own weapons. They exploded in silent flashes of light. "They're retreating," Jin reported, her voice steady despite the impossible odds they were overcoming. "The remaining scouts are sending signals to the main fleet." Engineer Jun looked up from his station. "The gravity systems are performing at 100% efficiency. We can maintain this level of output for approximately 72 hours before needing to recharge." Sung nodded. "That should be more than enough time." On the main screen, a new sight appeared. Hundreds of Concordiat warships emerged from faster-than-light travel. They arranged themselves into an attack formation, a 3-dimensional grid designed to focus maximum firepower on a single target. "The main Concordiat fleet has arrived," Jin announced. 307 ships detected. They're forming a standard obliteration grid. No one on the bridge spoke. Despite their confidence in the nemesis, the sight of so many enemy ships was intimidating. The Concordiat admiral's face appeared on a secondary screen. "Human vessel, you have destroyed 5 of our scouts. This offense will be added to Earth's crimes. Surrender now, and we will spare your planet from total annihilation." Sung stepped forward. "We gave you a chance to leave peacefully. You chose war." He cut the transmission. The alien ships began to move. Their formation tightened, weapon ports glowing with building energy. "They're charging all weapons," Jin reported. "Firing in 5, 4, 3. Minji, deploy primary defenses," Sung ordered. Primary defensive field activated. The AI responded. A ripple of distorted space surrounded the nemesis as the aliens opened fire. Thousands of energy beams and projectiles raced toward the Earth ship. When they reached the gravity field, something strange happened. Instead of impacting or even curving away, they simply vanished, pulled into microscopic gravity wells that scattered their energy across dimensions. Their weapons, plasma, particle beams, kinetic projectiles, all neutralized, Jin reported, the wonder evident in her voice. "No damage to our shields." The Concordiat ships began to adjust their tactics. They spread out, trying to surround the nemesis from all angles. "They think they can overwhelm our defenses by attacking from all sides," Dr. Kang observed. Sung's face hardened. "Show them why that won't work." "Minji, prepare offensive pattern alpha." "Pattern alpha ready, Commander," the AI confirmed. "Return fire," Sung ordered. Unlike conventional warships, the nemesis didn't launch missiles or fire energy weapons. Instead, precisely controlled gravity corridors reached out like fingers from the ship, selecting targets in the Concordiat fleet. Each corridor was invisible except for the way it distorted the starlight around it. When these gravity fingers reached their targets, the results were devastating. Ships imploded, crushed by forces that warped the very fabric of space-time. Some vessels were compressed into dense balls of matter. Others were torn apart as different sections of the same ship experienced wildly different gravitational forces. 10 ships destroyed, then 20, then 50. The Concordiat vessels tried to fight back. They fired everything they had at the nemesis. Some tried to escape, but the gravity corridors reached them anyway, pulling them back and crushing them. "Minji, status report," Sung requested. "Defensive fields at 92% efficiency. Offensive systems operating at full capacity. No damage sustained." On her console, Jin monitored the enemy fleet. "They're breaking formation," she announced. Attempting to flee. Some of the alien ships managed to engage their faster-than-light drives. They vanished into the darkness of space, running from a fight they now realized they couldn't win. "Should we pursue?" Jin asked. Sung considered for a moment. "No. Let some escape. They'll take word of what happened here back to their homeworlds." Dr. Kang looked up from her station. The gravity core is performing beyond expectations. We could destroy every ship if you wished, Commander. That's not necessary, some replied. We've made our point. On the main screen, the remains of the Concordiat fleet scattered. What had begun as 300 ships was now less than 100, and those were retreating as fast as their engines could carry them. Send a message to all remaining Concordiat vessels, some ordered. Tell them Earth is off limits. Any future aggression will be met with the same response. As the message was transmitted, the bridge crew of the Nemesis allowed themselves to relax slightly. They had faced an overwhelming alien armada and emerged victorious. Set course for Earth, some ordered. Let's go home and tell them the good news. As the Nemesis turned away from Neptune's blue glow, the scattered remains of the once mighty Concordiat fleet drifted in space, a warning to any who might threaten Earth in the future. The surviving Concordiat ships limped away from Earth. Once proud and mighty, now they were broken and afraid. Less than 60 remained from the original 300. Their hulls were damaged, and their weapon systems barely worked. As they traveled back to their home systems, they sent messages ahead. The messages carried a warning. Do not attack Earth. On Earth, people watched the sky. For 3 days, they had waited for news. Some had hidden in bunkers. Others had prayed in churches and temples. Many had simply waited, wondering if they would live to see another sunrise. When the message came from the Nemesis, it spread quickly across every screen on the planet. Concordiat fleet defeated. Earth is safe. We are coming home. Celebrations erupted in every city. People filled the streets, dancing and singing. Strangers hugged each other. Children released colorful balloons into the sky. The fear that had gripped the world turned into joy. The Nemesis returned to Earth orbit 5 days after the battle. It moved slowly across the sky, visible to everyone below as a bright star in the daytime sky. People pointed up at it and told their children, "That ship saved us all." Commander Sung and his crew were welcomed as heroes. They stepped off the ship tired but proud. Dr. Kang smiled for the first time in years. Her life's work had saved humanity. At the United Nations, Admiral Kim addressed the world leaders. The large hall was packed. Everyone wanted to hear how one ship had defeated an alien armada. We always knew conventional warfare was obsolete. Admiral Kim explained to the UN Assembly. So we created something unconventional. He showed videos of the battle. The room fell silent as they watched alien ships crumple like paper under the Nemesis's gravity weapons. 20 years ago, we made a choice, Kim continued. Instead of building hundreds of ships that would still be weaker than alien technology, we put all our resources into one revolutionary breakthrough. We learned to control gravity itself. President Han stepped to the podium. The Concordiat thought we were weak because we had few ships in space. They didn't understand that sometimes quality matters more than quantity. In the weeks that followed, Earth began to change. Countries that had been enemies for centuries now worked together. The threat from space had united humanity in a way nothing else could. Scientists studied the data from the battle. Engineers began designing new systems based on the gravity technology. Military leaders planned for future threats. 6 months after the battle, a new Concordiat ship appeared near Mars. Earth prepared for another fight, but this ship was different. It was small and had no weapons. It carried diplomats, not soldiers. The Concordiat representatives met with Earth leaders in Geneva. They looked less confident than before. Their 3 eyes no longer held contempt for humans. We wish to establish peace, the lead diplomat said. The Concordiat recognizes Earth's sovereignty over this solar system. The peace treaty took weeks to negotiate. When it was signed, it included trade agreements and cultural exchanges. The Concordiat would share some of their technology. Earth would share art, music, and literature. Ambassador Hyun, who had been appointed Earth's first diplomatic representative to alien civilizations, signed the Treaty for Humanity. Today marks a new chapter, she said, not just for Earth, but for all intelligent life in our galaxy. In the year that followed, more alien ships arrived. They came from a dozen different civilizations. Some looked like insects. Others resembled floating clouds of gas. One species was made of living crystal. None came with threats. The story of a single ship defeating an armada had spread throughout the galaxy. Earth was no longer seen as an easy target. Instead, humans were respected as equals, or even feared. Ambassador Hyun welcomed each new species. She established diplomatic relations with worlds humans had never imagined. Trade began to flow between Earth and the stars. Alien technology helped solve problems like disease and climate change. Human creativity and art fascinated other species. They don't understand how we defeated the Concordiate, Hyun told President Han during a private meeting. They think we must have thousands of ships like the Nemesis hidden somewhere. Han smiled. Let them think that for now. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in the same secret facility where the Nemesis had been built, Director Choi walked across a vast construction floor. Above her, 3 new ships took shape. They were larger than the Nemesis, with sleeker designs and improved systems. President Han walked beside her, looking up at the massive vessels. When will they be ready? She asked. The first one will be operational in 6 months, Choi replied. The others will follow 3 months after that. They stopped at a viewing platform. From here, they could see all 3 ships. Workers moved around them like ants, adding components and testing systems. Have you chosen names for them? Han asked. Choi nodded. Justice, Mercy, and Hope. Han looked thoughtful. Good names. They show our intentions. The Nemesis was just the prototype, Choi said, looking up at the ships with pride. Now we build our fleet. She turned to face the president. Not for war, but for peace. Not to conquer, but to explore. Han nodded. The galaxy has noticed us now. We need to be ready for whatever comes next. As they spoke, in orbit above Earth, the Nemesis continued to patrol. Its black hull gleamed in the sunlight. Inside, a new crew trained to use its systems. They hoped they would never need to use the gravity weapons in battle again. But if threats came, they would be ready. And across the galaxy, other civilizations looked toward the small blue planet circling an ordinary yellow star. They spoke of the humans who had defeated the Concordiate with a single ship. Some feared these strange beings. Others wished to learn from them. All agreed on one thing. Humanity had earned its place among the stars. The end.